What's the fallback with this?
I just want to say welcome and thank you so much for coming to this. I don't know if McMinimans has had a poetry reading here at the Anderson School before.
No.
What I've been told is no, and they've done lots of things. And this is sort of the inaugural reading. And it's a reading that can be about resistance, it can be about poetry, it can be about whatever you want to bring to the reading. We're hoping to have more of these kinds of readings, and so I really thank you all for being here. I know parking is hard, finding is hard. When I first applied for a job at Cascadia College, which is located a few blocks that way, I couldn't find the college. And I asked people in the town, where is Cascadia College? And they're like, I don't know. You know? So the fact you're here is a victory for me. So that's in itself is beautiful. And really what we're looking for is just for you to share in this work. And the work, what I mean by that is kind of coming together and talking about how people are doing. What's going on for you as poets, as teachers, as writers, as members of this community, this bioregion, Cascadia, and figuring out, you know, what do we do from here? What do we do next? And that's honestly, it helps more than I realize sometimes working in isolation and coming together. So thank you for doing that. Just that in itself is worth it. We have a special guest here tonight. His name is Richard Burton. Richard, I want to interrupt you for a second. Since you're here, I really want to thank you here. And do you mind just coming up and saying who you are just for a couple of minutes and maybe why you're here and what's happening on May 1st?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jared. Yeah, I'm from AFT Washington, American Federation of Teachers, Washington, the labor union, and we work to represent faculty at Cascadia and Lake Washington and some other institutions around. So glad to be able to be here and was very happy to learn about the event taking place. Yeah, so May Day is coming up, as you know, and it's a big day in the labor community. And I think for this year in particular, it's going to be a big day generally. So when I heard about this event and the title of it, it struck me as a connecting sort of opportunity. So I was glad to be able to say something about this. So not only is there the big march that for those of you who are in the Seattle area, I hope you'll consider participating in, starting at 11 o'clock at the
Judkins Park.
Thank you very much, Judkins Park. The march itself will start at 1, but the rally starts at 11. And the event this year will be focusing a lot on immigrant rights, workers' rights, and the broader set of themes that have been the focus of so much resistance this last several months. I also, however, want to draw your attention to another event that some very courageous folks at Shoreline Community College, another of the colleges in the area, are putting on. It's a teach-in that's happening on that day where they want to really help engage the student population at their campus. And as you know, students don't often know all the details about all the things that are going on. So when they hear about something taking place, they're maybe not so sure about the context. So I was really happy to hear that these faculty and students and staff at Shoreline are doing this. But I also want to point out that they've been receiving an increasing amount of criticism. It's somehow made its way into the right-wing blogosphere, to use the terminology. So they're getting crank phone calls and angry people complaining about inappropriate use of state resources and tax dollars and so on. And at this point, it's relatively low-level complaining, but it may become quickly bigger than that. So I hope that you'll keep your ear to the ground if you should get wind of some more formal opposition to this event happening at Shoreline. Because it's very courageous that they're doing this. I think it's exactly the right thing to do. It's exactly what an educational institution should be fostering. And if they get blowback and their administration chickens out or cancels it, which might happen, it would be really a shame. And so if they were to hear strong messages of support, that would be an important thing to try to convey if possible. Anyway, again, I so much appreciate being able to be here, and more importantly, appreciate this whole event taking place and the great spirit of resistance that we so desperately need to cultivate. So, thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we've been doing some things over the past few weeks that have involved community kind of events, downtown Bothell, at the Suga Art Gallery, at our campus art gallery on campus that are all around sort of resistance. It's Poetry Month, but it seems like it would be sort of silly not to have a Poetry Month where you're not talking about what's going on in the world. So this is really about celebrating poetry because it is Poetry Month, but also at the same time it's like, what can poetry do to say something about you know, the world at large, and also even sort of make some statements about what we can do next. Where are we going? We know where we've been, so I want to think about where we're going. And I think the poets tonight will tell you a lot about that. Our first reader is Peter Monroe, and he's an amazing poet, and he's also leading the readings at the Wedgwood Ale House on the second and fourth Mondays. So if you like this format, we're trying to do something as good as that. So this is the beginning. Thank you.
Long ago, in an entirely different epoch, there was a monarch named George Bush II. And during his reign, I was just a really unhappy person, and I was getting angrier and slipping more and more deeply into kind of some kind of us and them thinking like those fuckers who elected George Bush. They're a them and I'm the cool us. And I was actually kind of making myself sick. And so I had to look into really how is George Bush II me? How am I him? How is he me? And I got to work. I wrote a book of poems. It's about 100 pages long. There are actual moments of beauty in it. And I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get this out, I'm going to win the Pulitzer Prize, everybody's going to worship me, et cetera, et cetera. And then we elected fucking Barack Obama, and the world promised to be a better place. And being a poet, I thought that idea was pretty bad because now the reason for these poems went away. So 2 or 3 years ago, I was driving to work, and I listened to Desmond Tutu on the phone, and I don't remember what he was talking about, or on the radio, but I don't remember what he was talking about, but he ended up talking about how he thought the prophet Jeremiah was a bit of a whiner, you know? But yeah, he was a whiner, and I am a whiner too. And I when it comes to resistance, really some of the most potent poetry that I've been exposed to or that has moved me has been the poetry of the prophet Jeremiah. And this book that I just told you about, this 100 pages of, you know, earth-shattering beauty, it's just one long Jeremiad rooted around how the people of the city of Jerusalem were under pressure and living in fear, and they were taking their own children and sacrificing them to the god Moloch. And this occurs several times through the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah speaks on behalf of God and basically says, oh, what the fuck? That was no idea of mine. In fact, it's the farthest thing from my mind. And I look at, you know, somebody like Donald Trump, and I look at all these broken leaders who are so hungry for power, and I look at myself, and all that brokenheartedness emerges into war. And so the heart of this book is a character whose name is the Great War. And this is one of the sections from the book. And the book is full of hymns, choruses from hymns, titles from hymns, and this is entitled, Let Earth Receive Her King. The war to end all wars is born again. Comrades, gird your nippers in baby doll Kevlar. Zipper up your little whippersnappers snug in their itsy-bitsy flak jackets. Cozily deck your bambinos in computer-controlled Hoburgs cuter than cowpokes. Launch the flesh of your flesh. Let preschoolers bundle into bulletproof burqas, sons and daughters equally, winsomely pseudo-sequestered. Let preschoolers finger paint angel wings onto stinger skins. Let preschoolers etch Jesus loves you by laser just below the aperture of guidance systems tipped to the nose cones of those drone-born anti-personnel trajectiles by which conquistadors bow low before tin, short-arming, stubborn cases of Gomorrah. Comrade, the war to end all wars is born again as though torn out of the burnished bronze wombs of Jehovah, smoked heavy by the seed of Shiva. Lance corporals horn down their need upon baby doll working daughters reborn to the street in Hanoi or Medina. Catamites, sharper than any shrapnel ever fruited out of Sandinista loins, sip the cocktails doled by corporate officers, Mai Tais extolled by those deputies who man outlying box offices the better to quote holy bylaws, preoccupied with codicils excised from weapons manuals, policies assembled for mid-level managers, business models bandied to benefit brigadiers, bayonets fixed on margin calls regarding banana boat cargoes, and optimal hold sizes for climate-controlled banana shippers bulging their britches with banana daiquiris lacking firing pins. Comrade, the war to end all wars is born again, suborning inheritances of gospel makers and scripture-savvy liturgists. The Diocese of Mainz deciphers 11 episcopal peace polities woven like sniper fire of a rectory. God's mouthpiece teaches that God scorns from far to the right of Tulsa with pipers and drums up funding for pulpits and porn, whose mouthpiece preaches that our comrades shall troop forth in diapers and scrub the ramparts of Kandahar in blood, or bellow the gospel down Babylon's avenues, or embargo Manila till elections flow fair from Jakarta to Carthage, from Atlanta to Johannesburg. By laser-guided blunderbuss, adorned in 3-piece pin-striped armor, our vipers worship the Lamb and the rage of the Lamb from Sodom to Wichita to Hong Kong, proclaiming the good news. The wars to end all war are born again.
It's a hard act to follow. That was brilliant, Peter. Thank you. Our next reader is Nancy Wood. She's a member of the community, and she's somebody I've met at a recent community reading where we had at the after sort of a rally in the square here, and I'm really glad she's here. I want to welcome Nancy Wood.
You have my vote for a Pulitzer. I got tired of complaining, and so did everybody I knew, so I wrote. The poem is called Berlin Again. I wish people who say they want a wall between us, the U.S., and Mexico could have visited the Berlin Wall, passing through the maze, perhaps at Checkpoint Charlie, into East Berlin, emerging into barren bleakness. Wanting to turn and run meant certain death. We had to stay 4 hours. Raised blocks of wasteland, no sign of life, without any purpose except instilling fear. No buildings, no vegetation, only emptiness controlled by communist suppression. A tasteless state of waste, humanity impounded. No one who saw or lived that inhumanity, then watched the wall come down, would ever want another wall erected. Not there, not here, not ever, anywhere. As we move into isolation in the guise of America first, shouldn't we ask ourselves who or what it is we fear? For truly it is fear that breeds a wall. Fanaticism fears individual freedom of expression. It locks thinking into mindless mediocrity for the good of the state. I ask, a state of what? Once ours was inclusive, a state of invitation. Give me your tired, your poor, wanting, waiting to be free. I will hope if a wall is erected, it becomes an object for our empathy, our shame. Can we truly expect it to breed anything but hate, more enmity, likely to become another kind of target, one for even more hostility?
Thank you so much, Nancy. Our next reader is a fellow English faculty member from Cascadia College and someone who's been around the Cascadia Poetry Festival and the biggest Eagles fan I know. This is Brent Schaefer.
Hey. Yeah, so I'm feeling a little acute feeling of shame. I grabbed a bunch of poems I read at my last reading in Capitol Hill. Draft was on, my 8-month-old daughter has a fever, so I just grabbed poems and ran, and the only poems I grabbed were for that reading, so I didn't bring any really salty, rabble-rousing ones.
All right, we need that.
I know, and I'm thinking, was it Brodsky who says that Americans write like an oppressed people? And right now I'm just gonna talk about epiphanies and love and shit. I'm not gonna rabble-rouse. So you'll have to appreciate a quick diversion. This one's called Early Morning San Bruno After Work. 3 new flavors on the gas and more marquee. It should be Easter. Sunrise soaks the trees and leaves, pink and purple like yogurt packed in plastic. The old vet with the husky smokes outside, beside a man with an infant in his leather jacket. Vivian wears a sensible camisole under her company frock and one of those faces that seem to want to smile. Her lips pull up when she just starts to talk, even when people are jackasses, like me as she checks me out. A tight barrette holds back her purple hair, faded but still punk rock. We talk over distilled water, thin condoms, and a peanut butter bar about cashback, candy, and never knowing unless you ask. Yes, I want fast food in a paper sack. I want to drive drunk, nowhere, booming pop with a box of Whoppers cradled in my crotch. I want to smoke again and not care about death, the cost, or the stink. I want to rock you, dancing to sleep softly in front of the headlights, parked beside the strip mall, but I'm off the clock. Here's your song. Thank you.
I haven't heard that one. That's good. It's newer. I like it. That's good. Being a parent changes you, that's for sure. For the better. My friend Cora is your next reader, and she's somebody I've met as a student, and then she was a teacher. Not a teacher, but she's an advocate for students, and I really admire sort of how she comes at the work, I feel like I do, but from a different angle, and I didn't know that angle was possible, and I think that I've learned a lot from her, so please welcome Cora.
Why, thank you, Jared. Thanks for putting this on tonight. This is great to be here. So I have Happy Poetry Month, by the way. And I feel like I have to be doing this in close, but.
You can pull it out.
So I have a poem about spring. A simple song. I crack the window, and the frogs murmur, fill the empty spaces of the room. A simple song is sung, hurry spring, bring the warm rains with, so we too can begin again. May we begin again. And then I have another short. Silence is the space between water particles in a shroud of low-lying mist, hugging the base of Mount Sauk. Silence is that ebb and flow of my breath during deep, dark sleep. Silence is heightened beauty and peace, long, continuous stillness. Silence is the space between me and that red rock ledge across that white canyon, only pure emptiness. Silence is the void capturing a single beam of sunlight. Silence is resonating from the gratitude of isolated peaks. Silence is my heart ceasing to beat, 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 and my lungs no longer welcoming sweet air of earth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a lot of times, I think events like this, I see people I haven't seen in a long time, and it's a funny way to reconnect. But I like the ability to kind of, learn about what you've been doing or who you are through what you're reading at the moment. Our next reader is Greg Bem, and Greg's recording tonight, and I thank him deeply for doing that because I'm terrible at archiving anything that we do. I took one picture tonight, or this afternoon, when we were doing an event on campus, and it's not a great picture. Of everybody Paul's just so I feel bad about that, but I'm so thankful for all the people that sort of kind of are here doing different roles for things. So please welcome Greg Bem.
Thank you, Jared, and for hosting, for organizing, for inviting. Yeah, and thank you for pre-approving that this can be 7 minutes and not 5 minutes.
Don't worry about it.
This poem originally had a lot of titles that I hated, and you can see a lot of strike-throughs on this. That's the drafting process. But serendipitously, Rage Against the Machine came on the radio. Where's Peter? The radio, and I hadn't heard them in forever, and their song from their album in 1996, Evil Empire, which was about Mexico, People of the Sun, kind of tied this all together. But the actual poem was written while listening almost psychotically to Albert Eiler's Holy Ghost disc number 7, which features the track Judge Ye Not. So I wrote Let Us All Blow Poems Like He His Horn. And also, I was in the middle of this other conceptual project based on Tinder, and I'm screen capturing all of the profiles of women that I'm looking at who say blah, 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 then swipe left. So the preface or epigraph of this poem is, if you voted for Trump, swipe left. And then finally, before I read the actual poem, sources include Donato Mancini's More or Less More, which is a poem from his newest book, Same Diff, from Talon Books, came out a couple months ago, as well as another source, the second movement of the light, The Litany of the Beautiful Lights, from Jackson Maclow, from 2015's The Complete Light Poems, and then various popular and scholarly sources from research databases, because I'm an academic librarian, that's where I live. Okay, so let's see how long it takes until my voice gets hoarse.
Beer house.
And cider. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. People of the sun. More or less, more or less, more or less, or more less, or more less, or more or less, more less, or more less, or more less, or more less, or more less, less, or more less, more or more less, less, or less, or more less, less, or more less, or more less, or more less, or more less, less, or more less or more, less or less or more, less or more, less more, less or less more, or less or more, or less or less, more, less, or less, more, less, or more, less. A. How fluent need he be in the details? They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I am a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. They say I'm a mess, but I'm the absolute owner. He also promised to go after others pushing this rubbish. I hear many things, but just can't listen. 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 There is little agreement over his actual worth. May the eternal light shine on him. May the one light shine on him. May the light accepting repentance shine on him. May the last light shine on him. May the abasing light shine on him. May the prevailing light shine for him. May the avenging light shine for him. May the light ruling the kingdom shine about him. May the fashioning light shine about him. May the majestic light shine about him. May the one light shine about him. May the light shine above him. May the making light shine above him. May the seeing light shine above him. May the subtle light shine above him. May the light shine above him. May the light that withholds shine above him. May the subsisting light shine under him. May the dominant light shine under him. He stays true to who he is. I hear many things and can't stop listening to them. I hear many things and can't stop listening to. I hear many things and can't stop listening. I hear many things and can't stop. I hear many things and can't. I hear many things and. I hear many things. I hear many. I hear. He will have to try something. I know this wall is going to transform the world. This wall is going to transform the world. Wall is going to transform the world. Is going to transform the world. Going to transform the world. To transform the world. Transform the world. The world. World. He will, once again, find a way to defy the odds and get it done.
Yeah.
That was part B. May the prevailing light shine out from him. May the powerful light shine out from him. May the pardoning light shine out from him. May the hidden light shine out from him. May the honoring light shine out from him. May the deferring light shine across him. May the kind light shine across him. May the light ruling the kingdom shine upon him. May the forgiving light shine upon him. May the generous light shine upon him. May the eternal light shine upon him. May the guiding light shine past him. May the fashioning light shine past him. May the ruling light shine past him. May the light that is aware shine past him. May the guiding light shine past him. May the distressing light shine past him. May the finding light shine after him. May the bestowing light shine after him. Oh God. You'll get it in a second. C. He had his happiest days as president at Mar-a-Lago. There's a lot to read on this page. Okay. 1. There is much happiness when powerful people do great things. 2. There is much happiness when powerful people do great things. 3. There is much happiness when powerful people do great things. 4. There is much happiness, when, powerful, people, do, great, things. 5. There is much happiness, when, powerful, people, do, great, things. 6. There is much happiness, when, powerful, people, do, great, things. 7. There is much happiness, when, powerful, people, do, great, things.
Yeah.
8. There is much happiness, when, powerful, people, do, great, things. 9. There is much happiness, when, powerful, people, do, great, things. 10. There is much happiness, when, powerful, people, do, great, things. His ascension has been a tremendous boon. May the light that brings forward shine in behalf of him. May the prevailing light shine in behalf of him. May the kind light shine in behalf of him. May the governing light shine in behalf of him. May the destroying light shine in behalf of him. May the first light shine below him. May the light that rules the kingdom shine below him. May the light that is Lord of majesty and liberality shine over him. May the dominant light shine over him. May the watching light shine over him. May the powerful light shine over him. May the incomparable light shine down on him. May the forgiving light shine down on him. May the just light shine down on him. May the clement light shine down on him. May the incomparable light shine down on him. May the glorious light shine into him. May the providing light shine into him. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Or less, or more, more or less, more, less, more, less, more or less, more, less, or less, more or more, less, more, less, more less, or less, less, more, less, more or more, or more, less, more or more, or less, more, less, more, or less, more, or more, less, more or more, or less, more or more, less, more, less, or less, more, less, more, or more, less, more, or less, or. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. That was awesome.
Powerful.
Take a breath. Our next two readers or performers, we're going to have Peggy Barnett and Hannah Duffy. I know Hannah needs a second or two to get set up later, and then we'll also do our classmates. So, but I want to welcome Peggy Barnett to the stage.
Feel free to adjust.
Yeah,
That recording I have.
can you all hear me, or are your ears ringing? It's okay. Because everything's too tall for me. I don't need this. Yeah, I'll just, okay. This is from my book, my memoirs, On Your Left. That was published in 2012. And this poem is called The Longest Word. This whole book is about growing up in Queens, New York. I was born in 1945. I actually, unfortunately, grew up 10 minutes away from Donald Trump. So it was like always on my horizon somewhere in my mind. Anyway. I couldn't, but I was on the wrong side of the tracks, see? He was on the right side of the tracks. So I didn't have a chance. Okay, it's called The Longest Word. It was in the schoolyard of PS 89 Queens in 1955 that I first heard the longest word of my life, anti-disestablishmentarianism. Ralph Hamelbacher said it fastest, anti-disestablishmentarianism. And we each repeated it to ourselves, amazed at our brilliance, at our ability to so conquer the English language. Anti-disestablishmentarianism. We whipped out the word while sitting at the soda parlor counter, the jukebox playing Bing Crosby singing, "Would you like to swing on a star?" As we ate the scrumptious banana splits Mr. Walke concocted out of his homemade ice cream, the secret recipe for which he brought with him from Vienna after the war. He never put his bananas in the refrigerator. No, 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 no. They melted, sweet and ripe, under the vanilla-scented whipped cream. I rolled it out again quickly, trippingly on my tongue, anti-disestablishmentarianism. But it wasn't bigger than the word we had learned yesterday in science. Hydrogen. That word was really scary because it was followed by the small word bomb. Okay. This one is called Colossus. And when I was a kid, I took several trips to the Statue of Liberty, and in those days, you could actually go inside. You didn't need to go through a big security detail. And there's a metal staircase on the inside, a round metal staircase. And when I went up, you could actually go through to the crown and look out New York for the crown. They had recently closed the Torch. My husband actually was able to go up into the Torch when he was a kid. And it's beautiful on the inside. It's all copper, it's hammered copper on the inside, you know. So my memories of the Statue of Liberty are very dear. And what it symbolizes, too, because my parents were refugees. It's called Colossus. The New York night is dark, quiet. The statue stands alone in the harbor facing east. Her robe's folds billowing out behind her, gold torchlight flickering light on the choppy waves. Small fluorescent green squares glow in an arc. The rising sun of a new dawn shines seductively on her face. The massive green sandaled foot moves. It steps off the pedestal, toes huge and clutching the ground, a sound that reverberates through the air, shaking distant skyscrapers. The second foot follows with a clanging clamp as she steps off the island onto the water. Trailing a cast iron staircase, holding her torch forward, she begins to stride across the harbor towards the ever-growing day. Ducking under the Verrazzano Narrows Bridge, she moves towards Europe. Waves washing the bottom of her skirts, she strides, huge steps hurrying to her destiny. She passes France, striding quickly over the land of her birth. Huge iron feet pounding Hungary and Bulgaria to Greece, where she stops, and looks around at the ruins of her life. Now barefoot, she steps over the Mediterranean, her heels shaking roads with a colossus forged of cannons and swords to welcome strangers to a safe harbor, was melted and reforged into cannons and swords again. Her footsteps shake the solid rocks of pharaohs buried in square-cut tombs, forever the lords of their domains. Heavy, long strides leave behind silent green tears to fall on the cracked domes of Constantinople. She cries out when her feet are cut on Syrian rocks, leaving sunken bloody footprints to dry in the bright sun. She runs, green skirts flying, hair ragged, torch burning lower, fuel dying, further south to Africa where they catch her. The liberated make her kneel down at a guillotine inherited from France. There they cut her head off. It rolls down, down into the desert, landing on its cheek in the valley of the African rift, her crown's thorns pointing to the sky and eyes staring. Ragged bronze neck hacked open, the yellow sand blows over her green face, slowly burying her. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair.
Thank you so much. Anna, how are you doing over there? Thank you. I don't want to rush you. Just check. Hannah is a student I met at Cascadia this fall, and she was in a fiction writing class of mine. And then I learned that she was interested in music, and it was beyond interest. And then I learned she's willing to perform for a class and for people because she's a songwriter as well. Now she's taking a poetry class with me. And so I asked her, I said, would you please come out tonight because I think you'd have a great audience for your work. So this is Hannah Duffy.
Sweatshirts don't go along with guitars. This song I started the day after the Bull shooting, and I finished the day of the election. It's called Our Voices. Is it clear? Are we here? Is it right to be silent? Is it fair to be loud? The answer is this: we have to speak for the silence. Be unafraid to be loud. The answer is no, this isn't fair. This has to be learned. We have to change things. Like in the dark, all that matters is our voices. Our voices. Is this fear? Are we here? It's not right to be silent. It's not the wrong voices are loud. The wrong voices are heard. We have to speak for the silence. unafraid to be loud. The answer is no, this isn't fair. This has to be learned. We have to change things. It's like in the dark, all that matters is our voices. The moves I made, the toys I played with as a child wouldn't always be safe, be okay for another kid, 'cause of who they are. The things we say, the choices we make every day should always be kind, or how will we be okay? The things he's done, how can we tell the kids who look up to us the things he said? How do we tell them it's wrong? How will we explain? The wrong voices are heard. We have to speak for the silence. Be unafraid to be loud. The answer is no, this isn't fair. This has to be learned. We have to change things. It's like in the dark, all that matters is our voices. Our voices. Oh, we have is our voices.
Story now from Paul.
I think I'm just gonna screw the mic. This song was the first assignment in this poetry writing class I'm taking with Jared this quarter. The assignment was kind of to write a where you're from poem, and I took that not very literally. So this is my poem. It's called I Keep Trying to Talk and Maybe Be Heard. I'm the root of change, pushing back on preconceptions, 10, 72, 100 times. Same thing said, slowly listened to, bit back at with misconceptions. I'm the result of push and pull, storms causing my sails to fill or luff. You never do that. Self-affirming, sarcastic statement, because why continue to do something I don't? I'm the only child of parents with many siblings, lonely, West Coast kid, East Coast family. I'm from blue eyes and dark hair, old school and new. You're raising a dreamer, and what's so bad about that?
Another hand for Hannah. Thank you so much. Next up, we'll have Paul Nelson, followed by Stephen Collins. And I'll say a thing about Paul. I don't want to embarrass him too much. You can come on up there, Paul. But Paul has been a real influence on my life and teaching, and is honestly probably why I'm here tonight doing this. So I thank him for that. And I think he's somebody who I've known for a long time, and I really admire, and I'm trying to kind of follow in the footsteps of, even though he's just right there, so I'm just sort of right behind him. And we're going to start a softball team, by the way. So mark my words, we might ask you by the end of the night.
What position, Thomas, do you play?
Shortstop.
Shortstop, baby.
All right, so Elizabeth?
No.
Catcher.
Well, we'll make the lineup part later, so at the break. Thank you.
Richard Nixon. You can't get any worse than him. He says he's not a crook, but we know he's a crook, and then he resigns. And then we had Ronald Reagan. I mean, he co-starred with a fucking monkey, you know? Can't get any worse than that. And then it was George Bush, you know? Invades Iraq with total, you know, there's no evidence of anything. They orchestrated the whole goddamn thing. His vice president is running it. He's owns stock in Halliburton. They're making a killing on it. It can't get worse than that. And then Trump. I mean, stop saying it can't get any worse, because it will. It's crazy how things are going. I feel so
We haven't
unfair.
hit bottom yet.
We haven't hit bottom yet. When I was doing my when I was starting to do my graduate work, I told Michael McClure I was interested in, you know, studying projective verse or organic poetry or poets like that. He said, well, don't just stop with American poets. You know, look outside the country. And so I did, but barely. I sort of went up to Vancouver and I found out about George Bowring and the Tisch poets. And I learned about Jose Kozer, who lives in Hallandale Beach, but he's from Cuba. And that really expanded my mind just knowing those two guys. And one of the concepts that I learned from Bowring was, you know, Americans call the United States America. But America goes from Hudson Bay all the way down to the bottom of South America. So to talk about Americans, you should preface that by saying U.S. Americans. And so I took the poem by Allen Ginsberg, America. Do you know that poem? Go fuck yourself with your atom bomb. And I just wrote a cover version of that called U.S. America after Allen Ginsberg. And like he put in, you know, wants to go to the, or not, no, that's supermarket. There are references to the America in this. I can't remember exactly where they were. It's a long time since I wrote it, but it goes like this. U.S. America, I gave you my all, and you wrenched it loose and shit on it like you do everything else. U.S. America, I've got 2 Canadian $5 bills, a toonie, 2 loonies, and 8 American pennies, April 20, 2014. I can't stop my own mind. Besides, it's non-local. I'm reading off the cell phone here, so it's different. When will you give up lizard brain and respond as noble human? When will you apologize to Indians, Africans, Mexicans, Canadians, and everyone else you looted, raped, and slaughtered? U.S. America, pilot that drone right up your fat polyester ass. I'm gluten-free, high on dark chocolate and green tea, and can't stop itching. I'll write the poem when my right mind meets the gentle ancestors waiting nearby on the outside. U.S. America, when will you stop being demonic? When will you discover the softness of your own fur? When will you look at yourself through the lens of Lorca's Duende? When will you be worthy of your 50 million immigrant dreams? Why are your libraries the only place homeless people can shit? U.S. America, when will you defeat your inner urge for empire and conquer your own shadow? Habib's in Morocco. His government starves teachers like you and tenure, waterboard, and settle arguments with a fist or killer robot joystick. In my heart, I'm Canadian, my soul's Jewish, and I, too, am a mammal patriot. U.S. America, no one ever calls us the ugly Cascadians, and we don't want your tar sands, fracking, and oil trains. We don't want your endless war, your wars on terror, drugs, cancer, the poor, or any other endless violent occupations standing in for your lack of imagination. U.S. America, stop kissing the ass of the rotting corpse of Joe McCarthy. When I go to the International District, I get the Kung Pao chicken or the spicy lemongrass fried tofu at Uwaji Maya and at least 1 bottle of Momokawa Diamond and then go home to wife and child and never get laid. When I read testing theories of American politics, elites, interest groups, and average citizens, I can see Ronald Reagan's half-shaved, Alzheimer's-addled skull smiling as he waves from the grave, but still don't see who's moving his strings or writing his scripts. U.S. America, what did you do to Paul Wellstone? U.S. America, you better hope Fred Hampton, his wife and baby forgave you. The baby. You killed the motherfucking fetus, you son of a bitch. And that's where the poem ends. It's not the end of it. Reading off the cell phone is always dicey. There was a point I wanted to make on the panel today. First of all, this is the second event of this particular day. We had a panel with Sarah Dowling, Stephen Collis, and myself talking about the poetics of resistance. And one of the things I didn't mention was that just
writing down what you see is an act of resistance. Several years ago, it was Scotch broom in May. And last February, we saw Scotch broom beginning to bloom in February. It was always lilacs in May, and now it's April, and it's creeping up. The seasons are creeping up, and so just noticing what's happening is an act of resistance. People obviously don't want you to notice, and of course, Allen Ginsberg said, poets are people who notice what they notice. So one of the things that Jared said is that you can read a manifesto. And I'm like, okay, I have a manifesto. I'll read it. And then I forgot to read it, or I didn't get time. But I'll read it now. And this is Organic Manifesto, which amplifies one of the points I made earlier today, was that a poetics and a cosmology, if you have, it's okay to be resistant of things. It's okay to be disobedient, but also to have an allegiance to something. And in this case, an allegiance to the poetics, an allegiance to where the language will take you, which is a point that we made, is having an understanding that the language is more intelligent than you, and learning how to track that. Language is here before you and will be here after you. So there's a certain energy field that you can tap into if you're humble enough. And 10 years ago, I wrote this piece called Organic Manifesto. And those who are familiar with projective verse will see echoes of Olson and Duncan and others, and Ginsberg. And it goes like this. The organic poem is not the record of an event. It is an event, an occasion of experience, a map of the mind at work in the moment, ear measuring and mind mediating the crowd of outside voices, impulses, and resonances, erring on the side of entelechy for the individual and polis and culture, in deep connection with dimensions larger than the pen holder, enacting, not describing, the instant, rather than the act of thought about the instant. The organic poem is allied with velocity and the duende beyond mere discourse and the function of symbology, imbued with a luminosity that exists just beyond the comprehension of the pen holder, and ripples with the silver of a wave in the midnight of harvest moonlight, or the white of alder-filtered September sunlight just beyond the foot of the morning altar. It is the living apprehension of the underlying form as it spills out its testimony, as only the moment can reveal, never completely contained in one poem, except that poem which is the final result of a lifetime of an individual poet's never fully articulate striving, a chaotic murmur of soul redirecting self to self in an alchemical conjunctio only antepasados fully comprehend. It is the practice divine of ear training, star to mind, to hand, to pen, to blossoming, a harvesting of forces learned over years, decades, lifetimes of homage and refine, knows process as its own inherent reward in a systemless system which chooses recklessly those who would use speech at once at its least careless and least logical, poet as time mechanic, not embalmer. The organic poem is the mercy, mercy, mercy of the intersection of the vastness of outer space with the vastness of the space inside skull. In complete candor, the ordinary mind in discovery of perceptions eternal, in celebration of person. Universe is person. Not a stream of consciousness, more a coherent splendor, more a field of first permission to which one is allowed access more often than one thinks. Thanks, and I'll end with something on a lighter note about I think it's a Cascadia scene. It's a Haibun called Dragonfly Resurrection, and it starts with an epigraph from Ramon Gomez de la Serna: horseflies are smudges on the air. Dragonflies are silent fireworks. Into the heart of a carnivore we go. See her arrive 30 miles an hour on the solstice. See her stalk the rushes and sedges, recon the ponds, work the grass tips, maybe let the fresh sperm be scooped out to mate again, maybe see you out thousands of individual eyes, maybe shoot up to spy another dragonfly 125 feet above. Dragonfly, older than dinosaur, cardinal meadowhawk, filigree skimmers, western forktail, coal-fronted threadtail, Apache dancer, Aztec dancer, immortal, unreliable, more spark than flame, more action than lengua mala, more meat eater than lilac sniffer, more drunk than your last hallucination, four-winged independent flight, rosy wings glitter in summer solstice sun.
Thank you so much, Paul. That was beautiful. Next, we have Stephen Collis, and Stephen, the poet to you is the most Cascadian, and a lot of times I'm like, it's Stephen, and right now that's the person who I think represents someone who's writing beautifully, who's writing for a community that is not just poets, who is in community, who is doing things with their words, with their bodies, with trying to figure out how do you engage people with poetry for the things that Cascadia represents and what you care about. And I work for a college that's named after this place, and very few people at the college know why it's named Cascadia. And I think through working with Paul, working with Stephen, working with many of you here, I've just come to learn sort of, and it's made my job, frankly, and my relationship to where I work richer in a way that I didn't expect. And so I just feel really lucky to have all of you in the room, and especially Stephen here, who's traveled the furthest, I think. Let me look around. I think so. So I feel really honored to have you here, Stephen. So the floor is yours.
Thanks, Jared. That's really wonderful. I've never been called the most Cascadian.
We called other things,
good.
but
Yeah, exactly.
that's the best I could do.
Sure, well, that'd be great. Thanks, Paul. Awesome. Yeah, it's really thank you for the invitation, Paul. So good to be with you too, and everybody here. It's wonderful. Thank you for coming out. I've enjoyed hearing everybody read something so far. So that's really great. I've got a bad cold, so I'll be doing a lot of that and clearing my throat, and hopefully I'll hold it together. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, yeah. I'm going to read a couple of short, recent poems that are just about birds. What will I read? Yeah, I'll read two of these. Just about birds. This is called, I can't work on the title. Right now it's called In That Part of the Book of My Memory, which is a quote from Dante from Vita Nuova. I'm not sure about that title yet, because it's just sort of half a sentence. In that part of the book of my memory. Walk to Boundary Bay amidst trochaic calls of black-capped chickadees, goldfinch and flicker the birches falling and rotting into wetland mulch, tree swallows, and maybe an eastern phoebe. Think of the middens missing here, a walk I once took into mountains, an endless riot of huckleberry with Fred Waugh, the precision and clarity of his lines. Wilderness, the future is, a river flows into something larger, gets lost there. I want to return to fantastic moment of earth-created convex and reflective eye, lake and hill and daughter's eye grown woman seeing world anew, though it's not a return but a voyage out further as peregrini to desideratum, like the ways I have loved other men are these, awkwardly, with a silence or distance as photosynthesis, as words that are touched, but then even the robots sent to clean up Fukushima died. Birds and robots. This is called, Yes, I Do Want to Punch Fascists in the Face. But first, it's the orange-crowned warbler, the Nashville and Virginia warbler, Lucy's blue-winged warbler, red-faced warbler, and the yellow warbler. I thought they were all yellow warblers, prothonotary and magnolia warbler, black-throated blue, green, and gray warbler, Grace's warbler, the Blackburnian, cerulean, pine palm, and prairie warbler, bay-breasted, black pole, red star, Louisiana, and worm-eating warbler, morning, Kentucky, and hooded olive rufous-capped warbler. Saying or singing, everything's going to be all right. It's all going to be destroyed. So give me the light of stars that strives to but cannot quite reach us, the one whose eyes are struck by the beam of darkness, the wings blinding forms beating, piercing, all songs singing fragile light from every wood and window. The time now is for pirates and possibly warblers. Landward forms only amuse for a moment. Walls jockey for nations to encircle oceans, to swamp all our canoes at once. The crying out of streets and forests I join. Then give me water for spit, Phyllis Webb wrote. Then give me a face. Yeah. Let's read something from my recent book, Once in Cascadia. Once in Blockadia. Could be Once in Cascadia, I guess is the next one, right? And I think I'm just gonna.
Yes, ma'am.
What's that?
Yes, ma'am.
You think?
I think you should.
Oh, read that so. Maybe I'll read a bit of that in a minute. It's heavy, man. It's heavy. I thought I'd read a little bit of the port transcript part, which is kind of a goofy thing, but then some thoughts come out of it. So there's sort of, the book is kind of anchored by two moments where some apparatus outside of me quoted me at length. The first one being from a court, like a trial transcript when I was being sued for millions of dollars by an oil company, which is a fun little thing that happened. So there's like a long quote from this trial transcript, and then a bunch of stuff I do with it. So then the second time I'm quoted at length is actually from this thing I found online, which is supposed to be a transcript. It was a raw machine transcript of an interview I did on CBC Radio, like a live half-hour interview from a blockade of the port of Vancouver. And so it was like a call-in show. They interviewed me for all, and they took calls, and people would call and tell me to get a haircut and stuff like that, but they'd ask me to respond to people. But anyway, I found this transcript online, and it makes no sense at all. I mean, so I guess raw machine transcript, that's literally what it is, like a computer tried to transcribe the oral recording of the radio review, and it didn't do such a good job. So I'll just read like the first part of the page of what this sounds like. So this is literally verbatim what I found online purporting to be CBC Radio 1, raw machine transcript, December 12th, 2011. I apologize if I sound all something. Doesn't sound good over here. With us right now is Stephen Coliseum, is with Occupy Vancouver, the rally right now, and welcome to Resume and Active. And what's happening right now where you are, our orders start gathering crowd before arriving in Hartford. The drive there is so much stress during the organ writing tradition, and Mobilize 22, where what would be plenty to do, but will share their personal blog for your purists or where we are going to march, and you hope to stop traffic when you get there. What's the plan for Think I Go To, word you use as interesting registration of God disrupts traffic is the right word that you've noted earlier about. Briefly describe the parking entrance, and what you see here, Vancouver, is a rolling temporary disruptions. What are you charging ports just like 3 regarding on the refer them for service in organizing solidarity with our American brothers and sisters called for action, and down the coast on the lumen of the global movement is only a global movement if people in other countries work in solidarity and support with their compositions in other countries. So the solitary effort. Second, English kindergarten. Attempt to get job. The discussion of any talking in economic and colony going cold out here at Yellow Dildo ports. Pretty sure that's accurate. Exactly. Verbatim. So I just took phrases and made them, those were titles for poems now, the phrases from that insane document. So this is going cold out here at Yellow Dildo ports. The titles by the poems aren't all that funny. Anyway. But what, we'll try again. But what if we are just warming up? Liberty's caliber is unique to each moment. And utopia, if we shimmer there, who knows what feathered beds await those who storm a winter palace. It's true, we will have to have something more than mere pleasure to pursue. But I keep pondering this other tense, what we will have had to have done, to have snuffed the guttering candles of capital and the tottering state. Oh, utopian tense of the will have come to be. There are bullets that have been traveling towards the hearts of kings so long. Just now they surprise us as they careen close at last. Trains we've been awaiting in so many Finland stations. Their targets now CEOs, the stevedores, svelte bodily fabrics, the real material vibrato in the dark. We will have to have been made from to unload this new social masterwork at the invisible ports of untold possibilities. Okay. The discussion with the blockade. Maybe we will escape through these nodes in the network, bypass destination through miscommunication. What else is poetry for but the divergent loves we might yet gather, that small pocket of old weedy trees we don't want them to fall, place we still only want to access by foot, things we don't want out of containers, the spills that we make or avoid, organic and machinic, spiraling combustion, the ruts of path dependency. I adumbrate all being, call it fishing lure, call it apostrophic bunk I forever adore, addressing the absence shaping and misshaping us gigawatt by lucent gigawatt. Bucket report. I wandered lonely as a sound cloud until the one-way street burst into frantic act and a king's carriage or CEO's Escalade fled into the night, into the dark protest ruptures, having run possibility down in the bicycle lane. Then, La Lumiere, east or west, rising or setting, we fumbled at the avant-garde gates of our closed aesthetic communities, letting no light in or out until the subject, a fly in the ointment, was cast out with tiny tweezers we called theory. The absence then given over to other ideas white guys had. Oh, let me read one more of these, then maybe I'll read a little bit of the Gaspir poem. I know Vectors are people. I should apologize for yet another poem about death and political economy, but a file called No File, offshore and untouchable, burns endless copies of itself as a messianic cloud of media rises above rioting squares, and the colony called Don't Stop, Does Not Stop, cools for a moment against the bulletproof flanges of the machine of more of the same, churning out repressible difference, one dead darkened body at a time. Once in Blockadia, one a little like this. Excess surveillance and what could feed on the dead did, though ancestors and ghosts enlivened us too. Comrades, I will be saying, shall we hide our brave face on this daily walk with death, or take us simultaneous as complicit beings wondering how to stop but carry on differently, despite all we're freighted with, unearned privilege, endless debt, collapsible colonies, muttering doges, sputtering fossil lanterns, the metallic insides of the earth, and the proximity of death squads, and still slink silently towards better worlds. What is the nearness of economies and lobotomies? Note how finance is still the cryogenic liquid of this period, evaporating what lasts and filling the tanks of sulfurous lies. Meanwhile, beneath the glassy surfaces of our smartphones, deep in pocket, children pull handfuls of dusky coltan from a muddy trench in the Congo. As in the movie house, whispering of solidarity and mutual aid, some kid, God love him, squeezed between limitless debt and dwindling job prospects, says, it's all good, just before his brains become some zombie's next meal. Okay, water. How are we doing?
Good.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Swear by.
Yeah, I'll survive. Yeah, what part of this I should read? It's a long poem, and what part did I read for you that time, Paul? That was the third part.
Second, third one?
Is that the part I should read? Let me just read the beginning. I'll read from the beginning. So it's called Home at Gasmere instead of Grasmere, so it's like ripping off Wordsworth. And I did like a Wordsworth and a Tar Sands poem, like how do you do a 19th century, or sorry, even 18th century English landscape poem about a landscape that's been removed and is not there anymore. And then I went to the UK and to Grasmere, and all the talk in the UK was about fracking in national parks and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, you can't escape this stuff. Yeah, and there's a quote from Malcolm Lowry, who wrote a novel called Under the Volcano in Vancouver on Burrard Inlet. And at the end of his life, he went to Grasmere. And so Malcolm Lowry said in a letter, it's not because Grasmere reminds one of Wordsworth, so much as because if we half shut our eyes, we may be able to imagine we're back on Burrard Inlet. Well, that was a nice reversal to be like, forget, the Lake District. Just come on out here to Pacific Northwest. I still don't know how to write the poems I should probably have been writing all along. Small yet commodious spaces just off public areas where small birds flinch along dirty ledges and then mill together, hesitating to inhabit fluctuating urban winds, sheer view corridors, or the air above height restrictions someone has yet to buy. Or short walks I've taken alongside abandoned factories, slag heaps of restive mines, warehouses, unremarkable docks, or littered suburban forests of the once Wild West coast, where other unnamed birds can still be heard, and personal reflections added to the false and seemingly accidental productions of runaway system, its gaps and ruptures, provoking both thought and feeling, access, and the incommunicable faltering of the little we can bring to the fastenings and unfastenings of our temporal being. I guess I still don't know. Go on, leave the coast in search of I do not know what, fly to England and Grasmere, the poem going on past its own safe boundaries, the small concave of one page and one veil, home amidst empires, or detritus of colonies, home which I could be but am not from, home we cannot retreat or retire to when the earth itself is burning smoke, the soils ripped open for hydrocarbons, the waters crisscrossed by dilbit and diluent pipes that map of resources. We cannot escape that time. We kept writing and traveling because energy seemed an eternal delight. A little bit of wink right there. There isn't invocation enough to announce arrival amidst herbs and vegetables in Wordsworth's garden, rhubarb and foxglove and nettle and quince among rock and moss and oak by the lake. There is no way to begin. Slate and nasturtium, the lumpy white walls of Dove Cottage, nails and wires dangling, clematis and wild rose climbing so that the senses fill with a verse that has been rushing towards this small place since the universe began, and it will shoot right past me, go through an opening in the mountains, crack in the clouds, jet scud, speed off to where the light passes into the collapse of all things, and I will not catch one word of it. I will hang out at the picturesque British Petroleum Station in Ambleside, smelling the petrol and asking after the Gulf oil spill and converting the price of junk food, its infinite chemical transports from pounds to dollars, watching the traffic pile up on the Rydal Road, the old corpse road along which everyone who died in Ambleside passed. I will consider the presence or absence, or more likely present absence, of shale under the earth here too, the likelihood that they will frack these fells and dales, rising the barbecue smell of coal burning in Dove Cottage and the fuels that undergird this pleasant absence, which is a seeming of independence, rocks and waters, a lack of work or need, shuttling between the how we make our living and the where we make our living. It's not like mines weren't a part of this landscape's past. Graphite for the poet's pencil, lead for bombshells and cannonballs at Seathwaite, iron mines at Ulverston, Thomas West claiming the mineral is not harmful in any way to any animal or vegetable, and no one ever suffered drinking the water in the mines, though discolored and much impregnated with the ore. Now, if only that were still the case, or ever really was, as we tripped past lake's reflective presence towards a dream of undistilled destructions and mined minerals that might make us light for our mobile and immobile mobile and immobile homes, electricity for poems pacing the garden, junk we could burn as we turned to in our sulphurous sleep. Oh, I can barely read that one. I mean, it goes on and on like this. It's like a full-on, this is going to be a romantic ode, a philosophical ode that goes and goes and goes. Constantly slipping in and out of like iambic pentameter and weird things like that. The cool old school rhythms. Old-timey. Do I have time for one poem? Yeah. You guys can handle one more poem? Yeah. And then I'll stop. This is usually my close it down poem, so I'll do it. It's called Come the Revolution. Come the revolution, we will the revolution. We will return to the revolution, return to the sensuous body of language. Come the revolution, we will return to the sensuous body, and sound will propel us through the barricades, the revolution through the barricades, and come as mere sparks will spark us. Come the revolution anew, and we will the revolution come anew, and irony will no longer bind us. The sensuous body of language lift us, fringe to feather to fold us, the sensuous body of our methods single togetherness. And come the revolution, we will have time, the revolutionary time to live the silent lives of animals, the revolutionary animals we have lost, that is, animals we have killed, the extinctions, corrupt economies. Come the revolution, throwing off sparks and new economies, and sound will propel us through the revolution, sensuous. The animals, we are sensuous as climates, as producers and consumers, as time and sound and sensuous. The sensuous body of language will come the revolution, when banks will have shaken, banks shaken to shivers, shivers come the revolution. All fossils fuel for their own revolution will come, and walking as sound through sensuous bodies formed, we will walk through an endless park, sensuous apart. We will walk from each of our abilities to each of our needs through sound. The revolution come, sensuous come, stroll, come the revolution. We will roll through bird song and singular birches. Come the transformations of home, and together the revolution. This ecos will echo the sensuous body I speak of as system, as living fabric. Come the revolution through this other's effulgence, as others, so others, other species, climates. Come the revolution, we will echo new limits. We will wrap self-governance in limits and species in webs, wrap the sensuous body in webs of human language and animal revolution, self-governance in bios and animal wrap, sound all lifted to be level, to small habitations and habits to be level as animal and sound and sensuous body, small hearts of animals own all of us animals not owning, joining. Come the revolution, we will come to be animal, to be sound. Sing the revolution, we will sing swords out of songs, sing swords into songs, songs through fields, through flowers, through fields, sing bees through these fields, sing carbon out of atmospheres, sing chemicals out of oceans, sing economies and capacities, sing balance, sing sustainable, come sound, sensuous bodies, unsustainable, sing songs of the absence of oil and death in the oceans, unsustainable, of tanks and guns and airstrikes, unsustainable, of endless colonial occupations, unsustainable, profit motive and equity investments, unsustainable. Sing, come the revolution, sing a jubilee for all the revolutions, sing, come hammer, come storm, the revolution will come, and we will, as animals and sensuous bodies, begin to be born. Come the revolution, shit will no longer be fucked up in bullshit, and that which is loving in our hands will touch that which is loving in each and every other's hands. And while reading this poem, still won't be the same as storming a bank, oil refinery, or parliament. You may yet be reading this poem to a room full of people with whom you will presently be storming a bank, oil refinery, or parliament. Thank you very much. Thanks for putting up with my whole top and I gave it off. Thanks a lot.
You got game, so don't worry about that. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to do a little coda for people who would still like to read, and I still have people I would like to read with me. I'd like to read as well tonight. One other thing is, if you're interested, Stephen has some books for sale, as does Paul, in the market, and I'm going to go over there to see if they're still open. They may not be. I know, I'm going to work. I would talk to them later. So, but I thank you for. I know some people have to head out, but at the same time, I'm going to encourage many of you to stick around for a few minutes, get a drink, step outside, get some fresh air, and we'll continue another time.
Seriously, we're so hardcore about it. We have books.
colleagues who was helping me organize this, lives in Bothell. And so one of the agreements with the Anderson School was that they would have one room that is free for community members to do community events here. And I explained to them what we were going to do, and they were excited about that. And, you know, I hope we can do more of these kinds of things here, because it's a nice place, but at the same time, we want to make it as accessible as possible to do things like this. And so, you know, like I said, you're part of this experiment, and I really thank you for making this something I want to continue thinking about exploring for sure. So, there's a couple of former Cascadia students in the audience. Current and former Cascadia students. The first one is a current poetry student, Shringar, and she stuck around, and I really appreciate you being here. And she's going to share a poem, and then we have a poem from Giles and Matt, Thomas. Elizabeth is...
She left. She couldn't handle it anymore.
All right, I will write Elizabeth a note. At first she wasn't coming because of certain reasons, but now she's gone for the same reasons perhaps. Anyway, I owe her an apology, and I owe you all a big thank you.
Oh, there she is!
Sorry,
Wow.
sorry. I won't say anything more. Please welcome Shringar to the mic.
Thanks, Alice.
Good evening, guys. My name is Shringar, and I wrote this poem as an assignment for Jared's class. It's called Wait. An inkling to a similar face, the person in the photograph has charms. The streets of home mapped in the nerves, zooming through my arms. Petrol, CO2 in the air, gifting you silver smoke for the lungs. Traffic, bright city lights, leaving you dazed and hanging on the rungs. But wait! Camels, gold sand dunes, beaches all warm and baked. Red dates, seafood, shawarma, kebabs I miss and crave. And the infamous guttural cooing of pigeons to Lincoln Park days. All the kicking, screaming, and pulling of hair, all the scoffing and sarcastic backtalk we dare. Useless memory, past calls but voicemail answers the dice. I keep hanging up on life, ignoring the signs of advice. But wait, there were good times too, camaraderie between the layers that shake. An old soul brother he knows, and the apple of my father's eye. Trying on my mother's forbidden jewelry, kissing hands that make me cake. Scraped knees, a proof of sacred blood out to the land, and yet 50 degrees of nature's light, drenching all our plans to play. Fake display of the century's child games, stuck on videos, I say. A sour face, the baby's cry, an onlooker, walk by. Shops with unheard names, and blinding prices in malls to make you cry. Clink, fancy cocktails, with gleaming cufflinks, purses bay. But wait, bunking school, gold medals, love letters, feisty fingers curl, mismatched socks, peanut butter stains, and math teacher's taunts. Even the unforgotten chlorine fumes from bleached pools unfurl. Every shut-eye reminds me, it won't leave my head. Alone in maddening silence, I'm a shell lacking its pearl. Waiting is a lost art, I know it probably should. Something I once learned in this nomadic childhood. Waiting up to another sky, surely this is an anxiety I possess. But what then is this inner incisiveness? Smiling, he says, no, don't wait. Return home before it's too late. It'll catch, drown, and haunt you, this sorrow. Don't be like poor gingerbread man in a bedtime story. Yes, sir, 3 bags full, and a flight headed home for tomorrow. Because like Cinderella, this is my glass slipper. I belong without words or marks or air that I borrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Both of you for coming tonight. Thank you so much. Giles, please join us at the mic.
And before I begin, I am a former Cascadia Community College alumnus, and I'm glad that the continuation of community from Cascadia has been throughout the years in that sense. This is actually a very political poem. It's based off late-stage capitalism and vaporwave. So please, I'm serious, it is. So please enjoy 11th, 2017. Rain is an extraordinary place. Thousands work there under artificial light, alone in the wet city, pale yellow, shot of topaz, amethyst, Mercury constantly falling into retrograde. Amongst paired constellations, Orion strings a recurved bow. Traffic lights, a system of violent mobility. The float and glare down gray avenue between the eyes. Not a social evil, but an answer to a human need. Clouds move through the radio towers, always, creating subversive theoretical cyclones. You won't die, but it will be unbearable to live. Digital objects, digital subjects, digital existence. All antidote seems to end. Let them eat diamonds. And the streets reflect amber and gray skies. Sea salt refreshes my palate, only sipping lattes. I look up, ready to shake the hand and say hello, while shaking, welcome to the desert of the real. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Elizabeth, we were talking about you earlier, and we thought you'd vanished, and so I'm so happy you're still here. Would you like to read a poem?
I didn't bring anything.
Okay.
Sorry.
Um,
I'm listening though.
That's awesome. Thank you.
She represents the listening people.
Yeah. I always try.
In honor of listening, please listen to Matt Trees.
So, well, I grew up in the South in a very kind of fundamentalist Christian home, and I remember my dad being kind of caught up and thinking that the rapture was coming in the 80s. And so lately I've been erasing this text out of this book that he was fascinated with called 88 Reasons Why the Rapture Will Happen in 88. And some things to note, like the most common words are rapture and coming. It's kind of hard to stay away from those kind of things. We come instinctively, perceive in essence, say that the time would take effort, consideration. I reach in, return to you this time, restore the seas that rapture you, that the seas that rapture you. I time the mystery to show you a secret, a truth, to hear you rapture. Jesus, will you rapture, revel in the snatching and the twinkling of an eye, reveal your seas, moan will be the faith coming, a fire rained down from heaven. I will cause it to rain after drinking the cup of wine, window open, waiting, shout, build a house, hear this through the open darkness, should surprise you, assembling yourselves so much more, so much the more as you rapture like a thief you wake up. The wicked have always been surprised by virgins. The 10 virgins came, all 10 virgins were surprised. This parable is symbolic, not authentic. The entire history about to descend, consistent, without revealing. I'm still just as happy. I do not need God to tie together. The paragraph is extreme, lunar, a revelation, the tone through this single fact, the changeable wrath, then rapture, a tone to endure.
I see them, I'm like, look at what he does to them, because they're big, like 11 by 17 sheets or something. I don't know, is that right? Yeah, like, it's really cool. So,
Yeah. It's nice to get high on white.
Whoa.
Explains the content.
Yeah.
That's a very 1988 sort of thing to do.
Yeah.
Can I, okay, what's that?
Do we have whiteout for any other reason than poets to like erase things anymore?
I think it's a very small market. Thomas, would you like to come up and read?
Here.
Yeah, and accounted for. Now, playing at shortstop, Page Boy editor, Thomas Walton.
The poet market is actually really large. So whiteout is probably making it.
Well, I haven't checked it.
This is a poem. Whatever. This is a.
You got all night.
It's occasional, I guess. So in the theme of resistance, but it's about my mother, who voted for Donald Trump. It's called Last Meal. There's 2 quotes from Rimbaud in here too. If anybody gets them, Jared will buy you a free drink.
Wait, really?
Yes. Last meal. I want to thank you, Mother, for bringing back the fascist shades, so long lingering beneath the surface. How you must have missed them these last decades, so near yet so politically incorrect. Or is it just senility bubbling up, slender as a blade, flashing in your darkening mind? Was it some sort of right-wing radio lobotomy that caused you to vote for him? Mother, our race never rose up except to loot. A human trait, I think, an animal one. The plants, too, seem opportune. What is a life if not the looting of life? From you I inherit a body lazy as a toad. I suppose I should envy you your principles. I have none, only to scribble while the hatchets fall. Thanks, Mother, for leaving us with this President Pinworm, this Donald Diarrhea Tweets, Hair Pissy Dumplings, Senor Scrotum Cheeks, the Honorable Lump of Birth, King Cumlips, Mr. Gobble Gobble. Thanks again for this last little hateful gesture to remember you by, before you leave to join that fear-frenzied Fox News channel in the sky. In memoriam.
Wow. Beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yeah. So, you see Thomas in the parking lot.
Yeah. He's got a new issue of Page Boy out. And it's writers writing about writers.
That is true.
Yes. Anything else?
The release party.
Yeah. Release party on
Next Friday, May 5.
May 5th.
Yep, at Vermilion in Seattle.
It's a beautiful magazine with some, and I feel like I've discovered new writers who then end up at the Cascadia Poetry Festival. Sarah DeLehu, among others, and sort of it's a sweet place. And then the artwork in here, I'm always like, who is this artist? Or and then you have interviews with painters and all those kind of things. So it's great. Did we miss anybody? I worry about missing people who signed up, and we got everybody here. I know. Thank you for sticking around.
Does the server want to read
Yeah,
anything?
you got. What do you got?
Chris, Maker's Mark Manhattan.
Hey!
Followed by Brisket Milk.
Poetry Verite.
So easy. I'm good. I'll pass. I'm also on the listening team this evening.
I do want to say thank you. I didn't know what if we would have service, things like that, I know the sort of rules in here kind of come and go the way they
It's all good.
But I heard good things about you from another Cascadia student who was talking to you guys on the patio, and he said, you know, you'll have this person for the night, and so you were awesome, so thank you so much for that.
I'm just breaking down the fourth wall.
All right, thanks.
Does anybody need anything? Shots?
I'm gonna just say goodnight with a poem, and I don't know, the poem I'm interested in, I guess what I'm interested in doing is teaching that oftentimes is not in the classroom. I've been teaching, and I started teaching the King County Jail a couple of months ago, and it's really changed my life. So I don't really know how to explain it other than to say every week it's a whole new ball game, it's a whole new world, and they're the funniest, smartest, it's the saddest situations I'm in, and but yet it's energizing. So I think about it as a microcosm for like what I think a lot of people feel like they're going through, but it's like there's people in jail whose lives are 10 times, 100 times more uncertain and in jeopardy, and they know how to deal with it. They figured it out, at least the people I work with, or they act like it, and they do it by working with each other. I've never seen the tightest friendships with people who don't know each other kind of come together, and just they come to the class to write, but they also come to see each other because they're in separate wings. And this is just a poem about when you get booked in jail and kind of what they go through. It's called A New Book, and that's what they call them, which is weird. So. You arrive on the 6th floor, where you're placed in a holding cell. I am you, and you are me. If there are a lot of arrests, you'll have to wait a while to get processed. Please circle all items below that are contraband. First, you'll answer some questions like your full name, address, birth date, emergency contact. No visitors from 2 to 3, shift change, head count. They'll also ask you about your medical and mental history. I am you, you are me. You will be issued an inmate number. You will be fingerprinted. They will take your mugshot, code blue. Officer needs assistance. Personal property you have will get taken away from you and stored until you are released. Prayer rugs can be ripped and braided into rope. They will let you use the phone to get in touch with your family and friends or bail bondsmen. I am you, and you are me. If you are expected to be released shortly, you might be allowed to skip the jumpsuit and keep wearing your own clothes. Code green, disaster. But if you are not expected to make bail quickly, you will be given a jail-issued jumpsuit. And that's the beginning of a long sentence for many people, under a year, but we have students up to 10 months. And their resilience and just sort of week-to-week kind of attitude is something that I think I've learned a lot from, and I would encourage people to think about it. That it's not that people are in a worse place than we are, or people are struggling with things, but it's like there's a way to resist and survive. And we talked about resilience and resistance and survival today at campus, and sort of combining them. And I feel like prisoners are particularly good at that, and we've got a lot to learn from them. So thank you so much for coming tonight, and I just want to keep doing this and getting together. That's the best antidote for me.
Thank you.